This is the all-new Ferrari, and from now on, I'll refer to it as the Ferrari 12-cylinder. It's the model that replaces the 812 Superfast, and it might be the last front-engine, naturally aspirated V12 Ferrari ever produced. But could it also be the greatest Ferrari ever made? In this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about it. First impressions are important, and do you know what I think? I believe this is a stunning car. It doesn't resemble the 812 Superfast much, but that's intentional. Ferrari didn't want to make a nostalgic-looking GT car. They wanted it to look modern and futuristic. That's why you don't see sharp lines or sculpted body panels. The entire car looks much simpler and cleaner compared to other Ferraris. But even though Ferrari claims it doesn't have any retro design features, I can spot a few. The way the headlights wrap around the front bumper reminds me of the 365 Daytona. And this 12-cylinder model also has a black trim piece on the hood, just like that car. Additionally, the new daytime running lights protrude outward, much like the chrome bumpers on old classic Ferraris. But the way these headlights stretch back behind the front wheels reminds me of something else, and you'll never guess what it is. Actually, a Genesis G90. You didn't expect that, did you? I bet you won't be able to unsee it now. Anyway, the rest of this car doesn't look like a luxurious Korean limousine. The windshield is pulled as far back as possible to make room for the car's massive V12 engine. I'll talk more about that in a bit. The rear pillars have an exaggerated shape that sweeps backward behind the windows and then curves forward toward the center of the roof. From this angle, it resembles the SF90, which has allowed Ferrari to use a glass roof on the 12-cylinder model instead of aluminum or carbon fiber. This actually increases the car's center of gravity. Oh well. However, the biggest change in the new Ferrari is at the rear. The brake lights have been completely flattened. There aren't even rounded edges like on the SF90. Below that, there's a massive rear diffuser, which you can get in black or carbon fiber. And underneath that are 4 exhaust pipes, because a Ferrari V12 must have 4 exhaust pipes. It's practically a law in Italy. But Ferrari has also flattened these pipes, turning them into rectangles that are placed inside a metal housing. I'd prefer the round pipes from other Ferraris over these, but I'm not sure. How about you? Let me know what you think in the comments. Unlike other automakers, Ferrari continues to use a big, naturally aspirated V12 engine. But Ferrari won't be able to produce these engines forever, so this could be one of the last front-engine V12 Ferraris you can buy. If you have enough money, of course. So this car has to be good, right? In fact, this engine is based on the 6.5-liter V12 from the 812 Competizione, which I'll refer to as the 812 Competizione from now on. This engine features pistons made from a special aluminum alloy, a rebalanced, lighter crankshaft, and new titanium connecting rods, which are 40% lighter than steel ones. It also has the same clever intake manifolds as the 812 Competizione. These manifolds can alter the airflow inside based on the engine speed. By making the air travel a longer path before it's drawn into the cylinders, you get more torque at lower revs. But if you give the air a shortcut at higher revs, you get more power. Now for the most important part, how much power and torque does this V12 produce? The 12-cylinder engine generates 830 horsepower and 678 nanometers of torque. That's the same power as the engine in the 812 Competizione, and only 14 nanometers less torque. Plus, this 12-cylinder engine has 5 more horsepower than the new naturally aspirated V12 in the Lamborghini Revuelto. Of course, that car has 3 electric motors that boost the total output to over 1,000 horsepower. However, this new Ferrari isn't competing against the hybrid Lamborghini supercar. It's actually an alternative to Grand Tours like the AMG GT63 S Hybrid and the upcoming Aston Martin Vanquish. Aston has already confirmed that it's working on a new V12 engine for that car, which will produce 835 horsepower and 1,000 nanometers of torque. But the big difference is that the Aston Martin engine is twin turbocharged, so it might not sound as good as the Ferrari. Ferrari has gone to great lengths to ensure that this new Ferrari sounds like a proper V12. For instance, it has repositioned the exhaust resonators so that the driver can hear the sound better. And all the pipes in the exhaust manifold are of equal length. This is very hard to achieve in an engine with so many cylinders, but it's worth it because it makes the sound better. These equal-length manifolds are one of the reasons why some old V10 and V12 Formula One cars sounded so good. Of course, the fact that those cars revved to nearly 20,000 revolutions per minute also helped. Although this new Ferrari doesn't rev that high, Ferrari has confirmed that the red line is an impressive 9,500 revolutions per minute. That's the same as the V12 in the new Lamborghini Revuelto, and 500 revolutions per minute, higher than the old 812 Superfast. Not to mention, it's higher than the rev limit of the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. If you want to fully enjoy the sound of this new Ferrari V12, you'll need to get the convertible version. Ferrari usually waits to announce the convertible version of their GT cars, but not this time, because here it is. It's called the 12-cylinder Spider, and it looks exactly as you'd expect. It's a 12-cylinder coupe with a metal and glass roof. Ferrari says the 12-cylinder coupe will go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.9 seconds, and the Spider will do it in 2.95 seconds, because it's slightly heavier. Both cars are said to have a top speed of over 211 miles per hour. That's almost the same 0-60 time and top speed as the old 812 Superfast. The interior of the new Ferrari 12-cylinder looks quite similar to the one in the Purosing SUV, minus the rear seats, of course. You have a very similar front dashboard, with two separate cockpit-style compartments. These two sections are separated by two air vents. Like in the Purosing, there's a digital display and touchscreen for the passenger, but this car has a larger central display. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come as standard features. Aside from these screens, there's Alcantara everywhere, as you'd expect from Ferrari. And you can customize all the leather, stitching, and trim options to your liking, though your wallet might not appreciate it. The 12-cylinder doesn't just look new inside, the chassis design is also completely new. Like the old 812, it's made of aluminum, but the design is different. Ferrari has discovered a new casting method that makes the shock towers and roof pillars lighter and stiffer. As a result, the new car is 15% stiffer than the old 812, which could improve handling. Ferrari says the new car weighs 1,560 kilograms, but Ferrari always quotes dry weight because it sounds better. If you want to compare this to other cars, you'll need to add the weight of the driver and some fluids, which adds about 140 kilograms. Unlike other front-engine V12 Ferraris, the new 12-cylinder features active aerodynamics, but you'll never guess where. Look at how the rear window extends toward the back of the car. The outer triangular sections are actually separate flaps that can rise and fall with speed. Below 37 miles per hour, they stay flat to reduce drag, but at higher speeds, they open up to generate downforce and make the car more stable. Above 186 miles per hour, they return to the low drag mode, allowing the car to reach its top speed. But doesn't that compromise stability? I'm sure Ferrari knows what it's doing, right? Anyway, just like the 812, the new 12-cylinder has an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox, but the gear ratios have been revised, and the engine management software has been rewritten to offer different torque profiles, depending on the gear you're in. Ferrari says this will make the car feel smoother and more progressive. It's probably not as wild as it used to be, which was part of the old 812's charm. The bigger change, however, is the new electronic brake system, which removes the physical connection between the brake pedal and the brakes. Everything is done electronically. But that's not all. Ferrari has also added a new version of the four-wheel steering system, from the 812 Competizione to the new 12-cylinder. These two features work together with Ferrari's new stability control system, which it calls Side Slip Control 8. This latest software can determine how well the car is gripping the road at lower speeds than ever before, meaning you don't need to push the limits to understand what's happening between the tires and the road. In the meantime, you can choose to equip your 12-cylinder with Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sport tires, or Michelin Pilot Sport 5S tires. Personally, I prefer the Michelin's. Ferrari hasn't disclosed the cost of the new 12-cylinder, but it's likely to start around £300,000, with the Spider variant being more expensive as usual. After adding a few options, you could easily see the price exceed £400,000 for this vehicle.